Welcome to Vinniesdayoff, guys. I've had a request from Hassan Shihabdeen to make a video to find that if we use a Swiss Army knife on the beach, will salt winds cause the knife to rust? Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to travel to the beach, but I think we can do even better. Let's see if salt seawater causes rust, and just how rust resistant is a Swiss Army knife. Now, I'm not going to use this knife, I'm going to use an older knife. So just give me a moment to get set up. Right, here we are. I've got 3 little tubs set up here. This is my old Swiss Army knife. I've removed the scales just so we can better see what's happening. So I'll just give you a look at this. Now this is an old knife. It's over 30 years old. And the blade is a bit worn and the tools are a bit scuffed. But I hope you can see there's no rust on it. Alright, so we'll put this in one tub, carefully. As a bonus, we'll also test this Rough Rider knife. I find these to be very, very rust resistant. So let's see how this compares. Alright, put him in here. And just as a control, I have this ordinary steel nail, mild steel nail. This had a little rust on it and I had to take it off with a bit of sandpaper. So this is what this looks like. This, believe it or not, is a bottle of seawater. I have this quite a while, 6 or 7 months, maybe more. I intended to make a video on the Rough Rider rust resistance, but I didn't get around to it, so now we can use this. I've also added maybe a tablespoon of salt to this, just to make it good and salty. I've taken metal polish to both knives to clean up the blades as good as I can, and also to make sure there's no residual oil on the blades. So these are oil free. Right, so let's put some salt water in the tray. Should do. I'm going to give them 4 hours in the tray. We'll come back and see what happens, okay? 4 hours have passed. Let's have a look, guys. No visible rust. It looks slightly tarnished looking. We have rust. We have a little rust here, little surface rust. I've no doubt that'll rub off, but we'll leave it be. We'll just set that here. Let's see the Swiss Army knife. That was a Rough Rider, of course. Okay, so I see no visible rust on that. Maybe just the very slightest tarnishing. We'll set that aside. Now our nail. Okay, so I can see a good bit of, just see, can I get the light for you guys? I don't. On this side of the nail is a good bit of tarnishing or rust starting to form. So we'll leave him there. Right, we'll leave them there in the air. I haven't wiped them off. We'll leave them for another 4 hours and see what happens, alright? Right, 4 hours later again. Let's just make space here and have a look. So, what I thought was rust seems to have gone from the Rough Rider. You can see maybe a little film here, but it's not rust. I think it's just a residue of maybe salt. But I don't see visible rust on that. So, on the Swiss Army knife, absolutely not a bit of rust. So that's 4 hours in a strong solution of salt. That's stronger than seawater, more salt. It wasn't piped and left for 4 more hours, 8 hours, and not a bit of rust. Okay, our nail is well on the way. I hope you can see that. Our nail is good and rusty already. This is phenomenal, I think. Rust proof. Right. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to put them back in for another 4 hours. And I'm just going to close the blades this time. Put our nail back in. Right, see you in 4 hours. Right, another 4 hours has passed. I wanted to try this to see if it gummed up or got difficult to open. So it's not difficult to open. And no visible rust on the Swiss Army knife that I can see. What do you think? Okay. The Rough Rider looks just fine. The Rough Riders are 440E, and that's often used in diving knives. So no trouble there at all, I think. What do you think? And how's the poor old nail going? So we've got rust and kind of a black tarnish. More rust here forming. Let's turn that so you can see it, hopefully. That's our nail. Right, so now it's time for bed. So this time I'm going to leave them for about 8 hours. And we'll see what they're like in the morning. Alright, see you then. So, another 8 hours has passed. Let's have a look. What have we got? There's no rust. I think it looks like a salt residue, but it's not rust. Maybe down here if you can see it. It's rusty water maybe. That'll wipe straight off. But otherwise, not really any sign of proper rust. Not a bit of rust that I can see there. No rust. Phenomenal. Rust resistance. Okay. And our nail is well rusty. No rust resistance here. Quite rusty. Let's just give this a wipe. That blade is perfect. With the rub of oil, that'll be perfect. Let's look at the other one. Yeah, that rubs right off. It needs a wash. I'd say that's salt residue, but there's no rust. You could put that straight back in your pocket. I won't, of course. I'll oil it. I'll wash it and oil it. I think it's fair to say that after 8 hours sitting in a concentrated salt solution, 16 hours sitting in the air with the salt on it, and no rust to show, I think we need not worry about the salt winds at the beach. So Hussein, I hope that answers your question, and I hope the rest of you guys found it interesting. Thank you very much for watching, and bye bye for Vinnie's Day Off. Bye bye.